Students in 1101. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope your first week went really well for you. I'm hoping that everything on the Moodle page is easy to follow and you're feeling pretty good about it all. Hopefully, nothing is too overwhelming, but please, if something's not making sense, just please don't hesitate to reach out to me, send me an email, message on Moodle, whatever. You can use the Talk to Your Professor forum, so please take advantage of those resources and talk to me if you're having problems. In this video, I'm going to recap a little bit on everything that was on Moodle last week. So we'll talk about the discussion forums about what a good writer is and your responses to that, a little bit about the readings briefly, and then I'll explain to you what you'll be working on this coming week for the second week of class. So first we're going to start with a PowerPoint, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about your forums and everyone's responses to those. All right, so I asked all of you what a good writer is in your forum, and let's look at what some of your responses were. So descriptive was something that I got quite often. Descriptive, so let's just think in terms of genre. Descriptive can be really helpful in writing, or it can be really harmful. So keep that in mind, that being a good writer is really relative to your genre. For instance, being really descriptive and wordy in a text message or a memo for the office might be problematic, but being descriptive in a story might be helpful. And it might also just really depend on who your reader is. Engaging is something that you guys mentioned pretty frequently. Engaging is a really great thing when you're reading. It can be really fun when you're reading fiction. But also remember that writing is not just novels and stories, but writing is also the emails that you're going to be sending for work, or the case notes that you're going to be taking if you're going into social work or something like that. So we don't necessarily want engaging writing all of the time, right? When you want to put together some furniture from IKEA, do you really want your instructions to be engaging, or do you want them to be direct and helpful to what you're doing? So keep that in mind as well. Let's look at what else. Interesting. So going along the same lines, interesting is good in many cases of genre, but not all writing needs to be interesting. In fact, some of our writing we really would rather be more direct. Attention grabbing and attention holding is similar. So there are times when you maybe don't need to grab or hold attention. For instance, again, writing instructions on how to put something together. In our technical writing classes at ISU, writing directions for how to do something, or instructions, an instruction manual, if you will, is actually one of the big assignments. Those people are paid writers. They write for a living. So it's important that we consider all of these genres are valuable writing. They're all doing what they need to be doing well. Creative, effective, delivering their message. That one actually is pretty consistent across all genres, right? All writing should be effective in delivering their message, whatever it is that they're trying to convey. It should be happening effectively. So let's see, I think that's all of them. Entertaining. So notice this, that a lot of your responses were really focused on creative writing. And part of this exercise is really to think about the fact that not all writing is creative writing. A lot of your writing in college is not going to need to be creative. It's going to need to be academic. It's going to need to be research oriented. Some of you may be going into the sciences or businesses where your writing is going to need to be direct. It's going to need to communicate well and effectively again, but it won't necessarily need to be creative, interesting, engaging, or entertaining. So part of my big goals for this class is that we kind of break free from some of these ideas of what a writer looks like and think about how writing is going to look for us in our career path and in the genres that we choose to write in. And what the audiences that we're going to be writing to, what they want from us. Because not all audiences want to feel like they're reading a storybook when they're reading a work email or something of that nature. Always practicing and improving, however, is really wonderful because that, I think, pertains to anything that we could be learning or doing. Anything that we're growing in, we should always be practicing and improving. So again, writing is not all stories, it's not all fiction. You don't need to be creative to be a good writer. Good writing is only good within its intended genre. If you write a storybook in the same way that you write a business email, it's going to be really boring. But if you write a business email in the way that you would write a science fiction story, it's going to be really weird and hard to understand. It's not going to be a helpful or beneficial work email. So just think about that. Writing is only good in the genre that it is intended to be good within. If it crosses into a new genre, it probably won't make sense. It probably won't be good writing. Every genre serves a different purpose and serves a different audience. You write every single day. All of you are writers right now. All of you have mastered a variety of genres, including texting and social media and email and understanding things for school or whatever context you're working in. So just understand that you already have an underlying understanding of rhetoric, and the purpose of this class is to help you understand that and understand how to function in new genres. Writing is not always about being creative or entertaining. It's about delivering a message well. Writing is about being an effective communicator across a variety of genres. Not all of you are going into creative writing, probably almost none of you. So think about how to be an effective writer in the genres that you're going to be writing in, the genres for school, the genres for your future job. Any one of you can be a good writer. It's not about the person who is a super creative sitting in their room with lots of cats and messy hair and coffee or a dark coffee shop. I believe some of that is in one of your readings, or it might have been one I didn't assign. But our ideas of what a writer is have to sort of break down a little bit for us to be open to this class and open to what we are going to be as writers. I would like to challenge each of you to kind of let go of all of these ideas that you're coming in with of what a writer is, what a good writer is, and think about how you want to be a good writer, what being a good writer is going to mean to you. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's get out of this and talk a little bit about our failure reading briefly. So hopefully you watched the video of the climber, Nina Williams. She's one of my favorite climbers. I really like climbing. Maybe you'll get other climbing videos. I don't know. So hopefully you didn't hate it. But basically you read this reading that failure is not an option, and you watched this video on failure. And I haven't read or graded your responses yet. But I just want to reiterate that failure is not failing the class, right? Making mistakes as writing is part of good writing. And people who write consistently, people who write for money, whatever that job is, being a grant writer or an English professor or whatever, being a manager at a place and writing all of their business emails and contracts, appeals, whatever that might look like, you're going to fail, and failure is not... I don't want you to equate that word failure with failing the class, right? That's why I have a labor-based grading system in place. I really want you to feel like this is a space where you can make mistakes so that you can learn from them and so that you really can grow in your writing. Now, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about what we're doing next week right here. So you have 2 readings, and you notice that both of them are about rhetoric. Rhetoric is essentially the topic of next week. The goal for the week is that you begin to develop an understanding of what rhetoric is. So right now, you probably have no idea what that means. Maybe you've heard it thrown about in a sentence or two, but that's fine. I expect that. I expect you to go into this week not fully knowing what rhetoric exactly is. And even at the end of the week, I expect you to have a very blurry definition. So if you're not quite getting it, that's okay. We're going to be building on it throughout the semester. I do, however, want you to read those 2 things really carefully, because this is a new idea, a new vocabulary word for most of you, and the entire class is going to be built on it. So it really is pretty foundational. So read it pretty carefully, maybe take some notes while you're reading it. You're going to have this rhetoric quiz. This quiz is going to be an essay quiz. I think there are only 2 questions. There might only be 1. I'd have to look at it. But this is going to be you describing rhetoric in your own words is basically what it's going to ask you. So it's not multiple choice or anything like that. The purpose of this quiz is for me to gauge how you're understanding what rhetoric is after our readings. So just be honest and provide full and complete answers, and you should be fine. I just really want you to realize that it's an essay. So take some notes while you're reading this so that you can give me a few sentences about a paragraph amount of what rhetoric means, and you can put it in your own words. I really don't want you to be quoting the reading. And if you do for a tiny little thing, you must also put it in your own words, if that makes sense. Then you're going to be discussing with each other the rhetoric of our syllabus. So you're going to be applying the reading in both of these assignments. So really read carefully, ask questions if you need to, and hopefully I'll gauge like where everyone kind of is with it in this. I also want to mention to you, so for the first forum post, I noticed that there's a really wide range of how much energy, I shouldn't maybe say how much energy, but how much it appears that you're putting time into the post for each of you. Some people have really long responses, and some people have responses that are really short and incomplete sentences. For this first one, I didn't intend it to be really difficult, right? I wanted you to just kind of like introduce yourself to everyone, so that's okay. But these are going to be graded, and the way the grading system works is that you'll get 6 points for your initial post, and then you'll get 2 points for each reply. So I'm not just going to give everyone points for each discussion forum if you did it. So just take that into consideration, right? Please look at every question I asked and make sure that you answer each of them. I'll give you a full 6 points if you answer every question and you answer every question well and completely. That means at least 2 to 3 sentences typically. If you're missing parts of the question, or if you, like, I don't want incomplete sentences. So if I ask, what is your major, and your sentence is only what it is, that's not what I'm looking for really. I do want you to practice your writing skills in the discussion forum. So don't worry if you did that for this one. I just want to make sure I'm clear about that for the next one, because I won't be as generous with the points this week. So, and then also for your replies, if your replies are not particularly, if they just don't look like you spent a lot of time on them, I really want you to engage with what the person is saying, and I want it to be somewhat lengthy. I want it to be actual academic writing, so no slang, no incomplete sentences. Okay, so this is a genre of writing for the semester, if you will. Your next one is going to be about the syllabus, so you will be bouncing off of each other's ideas. The point of this discussion forum is going to be to think about our course and the rhetoric that I use in the syllabus and on the Moodle page, and for you guys to think about the tone of that and sort of combine that with the knowledge that you gain about rhetoric and put it all together to kind of make sense of what some genres of writing look like and how tone comes across, and how you as a reader and an audience member and a student interpret that rhetoric and tone. So I hope that is helpful to you. I really look forward to reading all of your discussion forums and seeing how you guys are doing with this week. And good luck.